What if your opportunities were dictated not by your efforts, but by the color of your skin? The poverty epidemic in Black America reveals a painful reality, highlighting systemic barriers that trap communities in cycles of poverty. How can we break these cycles and create a path to equity? Progress and setbacks. Let's start from the poverty paradox. In 2022, we celebrated a historic low in poverty rates among Black Americans, which fell to 17.1%. This was a significant milestone, reflecting years of hard work and advocacy aimed at improving economic conditions for Black communities. However, just 1 year later, in 2023, that number rose to 17.9%. What happened here? Many experts pointed to the expiration of pandemic-related support programs that had provided crucial assistance during COVID-19. When those safety nets disappeared, many families faced immediate financial strain. The Supplemental Poverty Measure, which accounts for government assistance programs, reveals an even more alarming picture: a supplemental poverty measure rate of 18.5% for Black Americans. Now, let's talk about children, because this is where it hits home. In 2023, 24% of Black children lived in poverty, up from 22.3% in 2022. These aren't just numbers, they represent real families facing tough times. Think of being a child growing up in a household struggling to make ends meet. This reality can have devastating effects on education, health, and future opportunities. Historical roots of economic disparity. Next up is the historical roots of economic disparity. To truly grasp the current state of poverty in Black America, we must look back at the legacy of economic racism that stretches back to slavery and continues through Jim Crow laws and discriminatory practices today. After the Civil War, although Black Americans were freed from slavery, they faced numerous obstacles as they sought to build new lives. Discriminatory laws restricted their rights and opportunities. Sharecropping became a common practice, trapping many Black families into cycles of debt and poverty. Fast forward to the 20th century, and we see how redlining practices prevented Black families from buying homes in desirable neighborhoods, effectively locking them out of wealth-building opportunities that white families enjoyed. Redlining was not just about denying loans. It was about denying entire communities access to resources that could uplift them. Even today, these historical injustices echo through policies that disproportionately affect Black communities. Understanding this history is crucial because it highlights how deeply entrenched these issues are and why they persist today. It's not merely about individual choices, it's about systemic barriers that have been around for generations. The wealth gap. Now let's talk about the wealth gap, which starkly illustrates racial inequities in America. Recent data shows that while Black households have seen some income growth, rising by 2.8%, the wealth gap remains significant and deeply entrenched. Did you know that the median wealth for white families is nearly 8 times greater than that of Black families? That's staggering. This disparity isn't merely about income, it's about assets and opportunities passed down through generations. Many factors contribute to this wealth gap. Discriminatory lending practices, unequal access to quality education, and limited job opportunities all play a role here. When you combine these barriers with historical injustices, closing this gap becomes a monumental challenge. The implications are profound. A lack of wealth means fewer resources for education, healthcare, and home ownership, essential for building a stable future. Families without wealth struggle to invest in their children's education or save for emergencies, perpetuating cycles of disadvantage. Addressing the wealth gap requires comprehensive strategies that tackle systemic barriers while promoting equitable access to resources and opportunities for all individuals, regardless of race or background. Children in crisis. Let's focus on the issue of children in crisis, a deeply concerning aspect of the poverty epidemic affecting Black youth. Poverty has a profound impact on these children, influencing their educational outcomes and long-term prospects. As of 2023, nearly 24% of Black children are living in poverty, which means many are deprived of necessities like stable housing and nutritious food. Research consistently shows that children growing up in poverty face numerous challenges in school. They are more likely to attend underfunded schools that lack resources and have less experienced teachers. This lack of support can lead to lower academic achievement and reduced opportunities for higher education. Moreover, the stress associated with living in poverty can have lasting effects on mental health and emotional well-being. Children who experience instability at home may struggle with anxiety and depression, which can further hinder their educational success. Consider the reality of a child who goes to school hungry or without adequate supplies. How can they focus on learning? The impact is not just immediate, it can affect their entire life trajectory. To break this cycle, it's essential to provide targeted support for low-income families, including access to quality education, mental health resources, and community programs designed to uplift children facing adversity. The fight for homeownership. Housing injustice plays a critical role in the fight against poverty in Black America. Discriminatory housing practices have historically excluded Black families from home ownership opportunities, an essential component of wealth building. Zoning laws and redlining have created barriers that persist today. Many urban areas still grapple with segregation due to historical housing policies that favored white residents while systematically denying access to Black families. The fight for equitable housing is ongoing. Organizations across the country are working tirelessly to advocate for policies that promote fair housing practices and support home ownership among marginalized communities. Access to safe and affordable housing isn't just about shelter. It's essential for economic stability and community well-being. When families are unable to secure stable housing due to discrimination or financial barriers, their ability to thrive diminishes significantly. Home ownership is often considered a pathway to building wealth. Without it, many families remain trapped in cycles of poverty. Efforts must continue to dismantle these systemic barriers while promoting inclusive policies that ensure everyone has access to safe housing options regardless of their race or socioeconomic status. Health disparities. Then move on to health disparities and how poverty plays a critical role in shaping health outcomes, especially in Black communities. Did you know that Black Americans face higher rates of poverty and food insecurity compared to their white counterparts? This economic hardship is not just a number. It translates into real health consequences. For example, Black adults are more likely to report being treated unfairly while seeking health care, which can discourage them from accessing necessary medical services. The statistics are alarming. Black individuals have a life expectancy nearly 5 years shorter than white individuals. They also experience higher rates of conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and even maternal mortality, with Black women being nearly 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related issues compared to white women. These disparities stem from a complex web of factors, including limited access to healthcare facilities and the stress associated with economic instability. Moreover, the COVID-19 pandemic exacerbated these issues, revealing stark inequalities in health outcomes. Black communities faced higher hospitalization and death rates due to COVID-19. This intersection of poverty and health is a public health crisis that demands our attention. The role of education. Next up is the role of education, which can be a double-edged sword in the context of poverty. On one hand, education is often seen as a pathway out of poverty. However, disparities in educational quality can exacerbate economic challenges. Many Black students attend underfunded schools that lack essential resources. Think outdated textbooks, inadequate facilities, and insufficient extracurricular programs. This lack of access to quality education can lead to lower academic achievement and reduced opportunities for higher education. When students don't receive the support they need early on, they're less likely to pursue advanced degrees or enter high-paying job markets. This cycle perpetuates poverty within communities. Moreover, educational disparities reflect broader societal inequities. Even when Black students perform well academically, they may still face barriers such as racial bias from teachers or administrators. These experiences can lead to feelings of alienation and discourage students from pursuing their goals. Stories of hope amidst struggles. Now let's focus on community resilience, the inspiring stories of individuals and organizations working tirelessly to combat poverty and uplift their communities despite systemic challenges. One shining example is the work being done by grassroots organizations countrywide. Look at initiatives like community gardens or local food banks that provide fresh produce to families facing food insecurity. These efforts not only address immediate needs, but also foster community connections and promote healthier lifestyles. When people come together to support one another, incredible things can happen. Another inspiring story comes from individuals who have turned their struggles into advocacy. Many former recipients of assistance have become advocates for change, sharing their stories to raise awareness about the challenges low-income families face. Their voices are powerful tools for change. Organizations focused on youth mentorship are also having significant impacts. Programs that pair young people with mentors can help guide them through educational challenges and provide them with valuable life skills. These relationships often lead to improved academic performance and increased self-esteem. Advocating for change. Let's talk about policy, specifically how important it is to advocate for change. Policy reform is crucial in addressing poverty and its associated challenges. Recent legislative efforts aimed at reducing economic disparities have shown promise, but require ongoing support from all of us. For example, initiatives aimed at increasing the minimum wage can significantly impact low-income families' ability to make ends meet. Higher wages mean more disposable income for families struggling with basic needs like food and housing. Additionally, expanding access to healthcare through programs like the Affordable Care Act has improved coverage for many Black Americans, but still leaves gaps that need addressing. Advocacy for comprehensive healthcare reform is essential to ensure everyone has access to quality care without financial barriers. Moreover, policies focused on affordable housing are critical in combating homelessness and housing insecurity within marginalized communities. By pushing for legislation that promotes fair housing practices and increases funding for affordable housing projects, people can create environments where families feel safe and secure. A vision for equity. In the fight against the poverty epidemic in Black America, a clear vision for equity is essential. This vision emphasizes the need for systemic change that addresses the root causes of inequality. It calls for investing in education, healthcare, and housing to ensure that all individuals have access to opportunities that can uplift their communities. Moreover, community engagement plays a crucial role. By fostering connections and supporting local businesses, communities can create a more inclusive economic environment. Advocacy for policy reforms is vital as well. Pushing for legislation that promotes racial equity and dismantles discriminatory practices can lead to lasting change. Finally, it's important to recognize that achieving equity requires collective effort. Everyone has a role to play in creating a society where Black Americans can thrive. By working together and prioritizing these key areas, a brighter and more equitable future is within reach for all. What are your thoughts on the current state of poverty in Black America? How can communities and individuals work together to address these challenges and promote equity? Drop your comments below. If you find this video informative, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so you never miss an update from the channel. Thank you for watching.